Um, Morning, everybody. Okay, I'm Bella. um, my testimony started quite a long time ago, and it started probably from about 2002, somewhere around there, where um, I was a director of an engineering company. There were a few of us that got this opportunity. But unfortunately, the company didn't last. And unfortunately, we had to pay off something like about 180 employees. I want to tell you, this took quite a toll on my life. It totally destroyed me. Really, really did. I used to spend my days just crying, wouldn't come out of my bedroom. I just wanted to stay in a corner and not come out. I felt so responsible for these people. They were all unemployed. They walked out there with nothing, absolutely nothing. And when I go back on that time, it was all a ploy with the bigger fish that were there. They had this all planned out for us, and yeah, so some of us were suckers, and we fell for it. And it really, really did take its toll. Because then difficult times really set in for me and my family. My husband was also going through a bad time at that particular time because business wasn't great, and so our incomes were really not that good. I was doing books for a small firm, which just covered my bond. And that's all I wanted. I just wanted to keep this house because this house was all that I was left with. And it was really, really bad because we didn't have anything. We really had nothing. We lost everything. Our car was taken from us. We really went through bad patches where there was no food for the table. But somehow, God always puts people in your path. And I had some very dear friends. And we've been friends for probably more than 40 years, I think. And she would just pitch up at my house out of the blue, which she never used to do. It was never something that we just visited one another. Especially during the day, everybody was working and so forth. And she would rock up, and by the time she left, there was always something under my book or whatever, bag of groceries, something, that helped us get through. And she said she was instructed by God to do this, that she knew. And it was always on those days when things were really bad. When that night there was going to be no food for my family at all. I was taking care of my mum and dad, my children, my husband and myself. It was a hell of a burden. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this. It was very, very hard for us. And I suppose it was hard for me because I'd been up there and with a sudden drop down to just nothing. My children used to go on, they always participated in sport on a weekend. We were in soccer, we were in baseball and in rugby, we did it all. And we were always there for our children at that time. And Brandon had to go on a baseball tournament. He was about 9 years old. It really broke my heart because I didn't have the money to send him. But we were packed, ready to go. And Barry and I weren't going with him. It's the first time ever that my children had to endure that. I had never left them alone. What scared me the most of that also was he was such a spoilt little brat. Because Barry used to dress him in the morning. I mean, can you imagine this 9-year-old laying there like a baby on a bed? And he was being dressed because he was just so lazy, thank you, to do it, and too slow. So Baby would put on the undies and put on the pants and the arms and the legs, and everything would have a turn, and that's how he got dressed. My biggest fear was that how's he going to dress himself while he's there? I mean, that's crazy. What is he going to eat? Because he doesn't eat things, he's such a fussy eater. And oh my goodness, I'm not there to take care of him. And it was really, really devastating. You can ask my mum. I sat that whole day crying and crying. How am I going to get my child to this tournament? My sister popped in that day, and she couldn't stand to see me in the state I was in. And she gave me the money to send him. Needless to say, when he got there, the coaches were 100, boy. I was on that phone all day. Did he eat? Who dressed him? Who saw to his needs? Was he okay? How did he play? All that kind of thing. It was really awful. It was the first time. We've always been there for our kids. These were parts of the hard times that were very difficult for us as a family. And then a friend of this particular friend I'm talking about, her name was Nancy. She said God told her to give me money. And I think she put in it was about 1,000 rand in an envelope, and Juliana would bring it through for me. And at first I said, no, I can't take this money, I cannot do this. She said, no, God has instructed her that she has to give it to me. She didn't really know me back then. So I took the money, but I kind of sat on it, didn't know if I should do this, shouldn't I do this, where do I go? Okay. So in December 2007, I had a dream. And it was really a weird dream because if you know me, this was really weird. I was dreaming that about a nursery school. And I was talking to people in my backyard, but I was floating up, and I could see everything happening down below me. And it sort of bothered me, and it's like a dream that you don't forget, because we often dream and we don't remember much of them. And the following morning, it really worried me, and we were going through Christmas period and all that sort of thing. So there were family and people around, and we were talking and telling them about this, and there was lots going on. And I thought, no, this is crazy. I mean, really? Nursery school? Children? Never been a passion of mine. Really wasn't. Anyway, that following week I went to my prayer group. And I told them about this dream. And Danilina, she was the head of our group, she insisted that this is from God. This is what you are supposed to do. Because every week they were praying for me because I needed income, I needed something to happen. And I still, no way is this happening. Nursery school and children, forget it. So comes January 2008, whilst I was sleeping, there was a voice. You know, when my head there was nothing. It felt like it was an empty shell. And I had a voice in my head repeating, read Revelations 3:7. What? And I tossed and I turned, but it kept on. It wouldn't stop. It kept saying, read Revelations, read Rev 3:7. Read it, read it, read it. And this just went on, and I tossed and turned and just wouldn't go away. Eventually, I said, okay, Lord, why I said that, I don't know, because why did I toss and turn? It just didn't make sense. But yes, I took it as a message from God, and that He was talking to me in my head, and I said, okay, I'm going to read it. And this is what the passage basically says. These are the words of the one who is holy and true, who holds the key of David. What He opens, no one will shut, and what He shuts, no one will open. Well, immediately I thought, well, okay, this is probably a message, this is a sign I should do a nursery school. But I think you're confused. Lord, you're very confused. Absolutely not. I mean, I only had time for my children. I didn't have time for family kids or anybody else's kids for that matter. Where was I going to do this? So, got to the prayer group again and told them what had happened. And, no, you see, we told you. We told you this is it. You have to do this. So, okay. Now, where do I go from here now? This is crazy. Now, I have no idea. How am I going to do with school? I've got no money. I've got nothing. Where am I going to have it? I mean, this is my house. I can't go out and rent something somewhere. But eventually, I decided, okay, I can't just sit around like this anymore. Get up off this thing, and we've got to do something. So luckily for the books that I was doing, I had a computer and printers and so forth, and I started printing leaflets. And my poor Brandon had always stood by me with all this so hard. I used to put him out there at 6 o'clock in the morning at the robot on the street corner to hand them out. So he has the character, he can talk to anybody. And he used to stop them and say, oh, you got children in your car. We're opening up a nursery school right over there, you know. He was so good. And I then decided, well, okay, we've got to get ready for a nursery school. Well, I didn't know where I was getting equipment from or anything, because I didn't have anything. And strange things happened, because just one day one of Barry's clients arrived. He lived about 2 or 3 doors away from us. And he had sold up and had moved down to Nelspruit or something, and brought his car in for a service. And Barry said to him, oh, you know, we're looking at maybe opening up a nursery school. He said, oh, why don't you tell me? He says, I've got a few things. I was going to dump them. We've packaged them, and then the storeroom, we're going to actually get rid of all the stuff. I'll bring them all to you. He said, a nursery school? Down there? We didn't even know there was a nursery school. So he brought a whole lot of things. So I had plates and little cups and little artworks and things that I could actually start with. And then a cousin of mine arrived. And this guy is very creative. And he can take anything and just turn it into something really beautiful, And he's giving me all these wonderful ideas and so forth. And he said, no, come on, we're actually going to go out and do some shopping. Oh, how can we go and do shopping? I can't pay you back. That's impossible. I can't do this. I hated taking anything from anyone. And he bought me some tables and chairs and a couple of odds and sods that we needed. But the pool was my big problem because this now was not secure for little ones running around. So he put a net on my pool as well. They truly, truly blessed me so much with all of these things. But see how God just makes things and He brings them into place. There was no way I was going to do this myself. It was right out of my hands. But I relied on Him and I waited on Him. So, needless to say, every morning I decided, that's it, I've got to get my thing out of bed and stop this whining and carrying on and go to work. So I used to dress like I'm going to the office, put my face on and my handbag in hand, and I would go down to my dining room and sit with my Bible and pray. And I had my phone next to me and waited for the calls to come in. And Brandon standing on the street corner. And guaranteed that the days that he was out there, I got phone calls. It was just unbelievable. Well, now I've got this nursery school that I'm going to be opening and no kids. What are they going to think of me? This is crazy. Who's going to bring their children if there's no other? So we recruited some family kids. Thank heavens for Brandon and actually my niece, because they got to look after them. And I was trying to get adjusted to this whole thing with all these little monsters running around me, and I thought, I don't know yet, Lord, this is hard work. I don't know if I could do this. But anyway, so I was still walking in faith, and we were waiting, and eventually by February, this has all taken place. Basically, it was 3 months. 3 months that He did this for me. It just blows my mind. So, the February 2008, I got my first child in. And her name was Tanaka. I still see this child. In fact, her mother works for me today. And then I got a nappy in. Oh, little toddler with a nappy. Oh, gee, I prayed so hard. I really, if anything, the Lord had me on my knees. I was praying. I really was praying, because this I couldn't do. Oh, not other people's children. And, He did miracles in me. He changed me. That, when I had to do it, it didn't faze me at all. And, over the years, He's taught me to love. So much love for these little ones. I really, truly, I love them with all my heart. And they are such a blessing, because every day I have a smile on my face, because they've got love to give. And they're always loving you, hugging you, and telling you how beautiful you are. You don't hear that every day. So, yes, it's awesome. So, I'm kind of losing space where I was. I'm making up for lost time last week. In By the end of that first year, 2008, I finished off with 11 children. Now, that was really walking in faith. Other people would have walked away, which they did. They walked away from it because I did offer my sister to come in with me and help me, but this wasn't moving fast enough for them. And so I was left alone with them. And I finished with 11 children. And every child that came in the church I was attending, they would, all sing and get happy for me. And we had loads and loads of prayers going out. 2009, I finished with 49 children. By 2010, I had 80 children. Now, I have 140. God has really, really blessed me. He opened that door. And as it says, no man will ever shut it. So, men don't scare me anymore when they come in with their threats and so forth at the school, because I know He's by my side. So while I was preparing for this, and I decided to go back to read up this chapter and verse that the Lord had given me, I just read on to verse 8 of it as well. And He says, I know your deeds. And He knew me. He knew me. See, I have placed before you an open door, which no one can shut. Who can say that? That my God did that for me. For you have little strength, yet you have kept my word and have not denied my name. I didn't even know that He realized it, that He knew that. You understand what I'm saying? It was absolute revelation for me. So I just want to say to Him, Jesus, I pray that I will keep your word and guard your message and never renounce you or deny your name. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you, guys.